Hi there, I'm just about to show you my collection of original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures, and I have a collection of 19 boxed figures from the late 80s and early 90s, so let's just get on with it. So the first one I have is one of the only two turtles in my collection, and this is Raphael. As you can see the figure there, the weapons here, they came on a rack. That stopped happening with some of the later figures, but the early ones all had them on this rack and you had to snap off the weapons to use them. The name here, so the original 10 always had their name here on the side. Later on that moved to being up here. I don't know why, but yeah, they changed that. So this is Raphael. I'll quickly show you the back. So first batch came out in 1988, and there were only 10 you could get. There was the 4 Turtles, Splinter, April, Shredder, Bebop and Rocksteady, and a Foot Soldier. You can see them all there. There's also this comic strip to show you how the Turtles came into existence. You always got an information card about every character, and also you always got a pizza point, which I don't know. I have no idea what they got you, but you could save them up. So that's Raphael. Next is the only other turtle I have is Donatello. As you can see, different colour to Raphael. The 4 turtles were all a different shade of green, or Donatello was pretty much brown actually. But yeah, and these first lot of figures, they were pretty much based more on the comic book illustrations rather than the cartoon illustrations. So you can see there's no pupils in the eyes. That's sort of one of the traits there. Donatello's obviously one of the originals as well, so his name is there. Well, yeah, that's Donatello. I'll just show you the back. So this particular Donatello came out in 1990, so there's a few more you could get at the time. They brought out loads of these figures in the end. And actually they started showing you the weapons on the back after the first batch. They started printing the weapons on the back there and tell you a little bit about them. But yeah, so Donatello. Next one I have to show is Rocksteady. And obviously he was from the cartoons. He's one of the bumbling henchmen, along with Bebop, one of Shredder's bumbling henchmen. This guy's pretty cool. Kind of got all this camo gear and stuff. And the turtle characters had their names in a turtle shell, and the original baddies, they had their name here, but they had it in a Foot Clan logo instead, as you can see there. So Rocksteady. Just quickly show you the back. It's Rocksteady. The next one I have to show you is Leatherhead. So this one came out pretty early, but a bit later, and as I said, they started labelling them up here instead. So they put the name there, Leatherhead, and you can also see, I hope you can see, there's a kind of like a sentence. They always had like a phrase about the character as well. So this one's the swamp stomping, raging Cajun gator. Yeah, so there you go. So Leatherhead was cool. He was in the cartoons. He was this kind of redneck kind of alligator guy. I'll just turn around. He's kind of like a crouched down figure, so you can probably see his face a bit better like that. I'm sorry about the glare on this, by the way, but I can't really get rid of it. I think you get the idea anyway. So there's the back. So that's Leatherhead. Next one I have to show is Genghis Frog. This is one of my favourite characters growing up. I love this toy so much. The frogs were in the cartoon. They were called the Punk Frogs, and they were kind of like the Turtles' allies. Sorry, and there were 4 of them, just like the Turtles, and they were pretty cool. I love this figure. Like, you got this shield here, which you could use as a surfboard. It shows you that happening up there. He had all these cool weapons. He had these shades as well that were quite hard to put on, but back there, Genghis Frog. Next one I have to show is Ray Fillet. I don't think Ray Fillet was actually in the cartoons. I think he's in the comics or something, but he's pretty cool. And they brought out 2 versions. They brought out a later version, and this is the later one. And you could change his colour by putting him in water. He got his weapons. So you see his weapons, and like Genghis Frog's, are not on a rack anymore. That was just tended to be a trait of the first ones that came out. Name at the top. Just quickly the back there. So that's Ray Fillet. Next one I have is Ace Duck. I loved this character growing up. He was really, really cool. Some of the versions, they have the hat actually in this space here. Some of them put them on his head before you open it. I don't know why. Obviously I've got one where it's on his head. And you've got these, I don't know how well you can see, but those big yellow things at the back there are his wings that clipped on at the back, although they didn't stay on too well. But This is Ace Duck, and an interesting fact about Ace Duck is he was actually only in the cartoon for like 3 seconds. He was one of the turtles was watching TV and he's on the screen, and it's like for 3 seconds, but they brought a toy out of him for some reason. But I think he's cool. Next one I have to show is Fugitoid. Now I don't think this little robot guy, obviously, I don't think this one was in the cartoons. I'm pretty sure he features pretty heavily in Turtles in Space series, but I think it's just a comic book series, I think. I might be wrong about that, but my friend had this figure when we were growing up, and I really liked it. You could open the front panel and connect one of these accessories into there, which I always thought was really neat. So he's like a little goodie robot. Just quickly show you the back. Got a bit of damage by the punch hole there, but never mind. That's just showing you how you can open the front panel, like I mentioned. So that's Fugitoid. Next one I have to show is Panda Khan. And this is a later figure. I don't really remember him. I don't think he was in the cartoons. He might be in the comics or something, I don't know. But he's pretty cool. He's like obviously a samurai panda. He's pretty neat. I didn't have him as a kid or anything like that. I think I vaguely remember him being in the shops, but I didn't own him. But yeah, he's pretty neat. The back, quite a few out at that point. The weapons, etc., etc. Next one is Mondo Gecko. This guy was cool. So he's like this skateboarding lizard. You just got a skateboard with him, but you also got, I don't know if you can see, there's some transfers and stickers at the back, so you could change like the logo on his shirt or on his skateboard. So it's pretty cool. I did have this one. I remember getting this one for Christmas one year, and I really liked it. It's one of my favourites again from my childhood. There's the back, showing you the transfers, and all the ones you can get. Next one I have is Baxter Stockman. Now I really love this guy. I remember him very well from the cartoons. He was one of the baddies. He was kind of this businessman that was mutated into a fly or something. And you actually get these extra pair of limbs that clip onto him, and some wings. I don't know how well you can see them, but you get these insect wings. This figure, I really wanted it as a kid, and I never ever saw it. I never knew, like none of my friends had it or anything. I never really knew about it, but I always wanted it so badly. Just showing you the back there. So this is quite an early one, so you know it wasn't the first batch, but there was not that many out at the time. Some of them have this advert for this like ooze stuff as well, like you can just see it there, wacky ooze stuff. I think I never saw it for sale, but I guess it's kind of like the ectoplasm you could get as a Ghostbusters toys. So this is another really original one. This is the Foot Soldier. Obviously one of the baddies. It's got the Foot Soldier emblem, the Foot Clan emblem, sorry. He's had this, like, I don't know how well you can see, he's got like this footprint on his head, which is the Foot Clan emblem again. His weapons there. It's a pretty cool figure, and just 10 out at the time when he came out, so it's a 1988 release. Foot Soldier. The next one I have is Wingnut and Screw Loose. So with this one you get Wingnut, who's obviously the bat, and you get a sidekick as well, who's Screw Loose, this little mosquito. And again, like Ace Duck and like Baxter Stockman, he has these wings that I don't know how well you can see them, but these wings that clip on. I really like this guy, and you can get him pretty cheap as well. He doesn't seem to go for very much online. Yeah, I never had it again as a kid. A lot of these I didn't have. I just sort of knew about them, or my friends had them, or whatever. But yeah, pretty cool. So that's Wingnut and Screw Loose. Next one I have is Krang. So obviously Krang was a big character in the cartoons. I really like this figure. I like the way it's a bit different, because obviously Krang wasn't kind of like a human, or he didn't have 2 legs, 2 arms like most of the other characters. He was just this kind of brain blob, and he used to use this pod thing to walk around in. Again, like Baxter Stockman, I really wished I could have had this figure when I was a kid, and I never ever saw it, knew anyone who had it, etc, etc. But yeah, really cool. You get these accessories that clip on. And he was a pretty early figure, but not the very first batch, but pretty early on. It's not too many, just 14 out at this point in time when Krang came out. So yeah, that's Krang. Next one I'm showing you is Usagi Yojimbo. So again, I never had this one, but a lot of my friends did. I think he's really cool. I think he's just a really nice design. He's obviously a samurai rabbit or hare. He's an early figure. He had this sort of brown weapon rack thing like some of the early ones. The samurai hare with a knife, that's the sentence it says for him. Yeah, but I really like this guy. I'll just show you the ones on the back. There's a few out at this point, but not too many. Weapons, information card, pizza point as always. So yeah, that's Usagi Yojimbo. Next one I have to show is Splinter. He's one of my favourite characters. Obviously he was the teacher or the master for the Turtles. Again, you can see it's kind of based on the comic book. There's no pupils in the eyes and sort of low down ears rather than the pointy ears he had in the cartoon. You've got this brown weapon rack. He had a bow and arrow, which is a pretty cool weapon. And some of these guys, you've got capes, or sort of like clothes with. So you've got the pink cape with Splinter, which you could take off, and a belt as well. And he's one of the original 10, so he's got his name here rather than at the top there. Yeah, so I really like this figure. I really loved it as a kid. It was one, again, that I didn't have, but most of my best friends had it, and so I got to play with it anyway. So that's Splinter. So one I have is April O'Neil. And there's a few different versions of April, like sometimes her boots are a different colour, or if you can see that blue trim on her, sometimes I think that's orange. I don't know which ones are worth more for the collectors and all that, but there you go. I bought. You tend to be able to get April really cheap, so I bought her just to add it to my collection. And this is a 1988 release, so just the original 10. So yeah, that's April O'Neil. Next one I have is Shredder. It's obviously a big character from the cartoons. I'm told this stance that he's got here is based precisely on one of the illustrations in the comic. So he's very much got a comic book look. I think he's a bit plain personally, but that's just my opinion. He's got the brown weapon rack. You actually get some of the similar weapons with him that you get with the Turtles, which I always thought was a little bit odd, but you also get the sword, which is his specific weapon. Name here because he's an original 10 release. You got this purple cape thing as well. So Shredder. Just quickly the back there. And then the last one I have to show you is called Triceraton. So obviously he's this dinosaur guy, Triceratops dinosaur. These guys were in the cartoon. They were like a race called the Triceratons. They came down and tried to invade planet Earth, and I think they got sent packing in the end. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I like this guy. I think he's quite a colourful figure. Get this big belt with him, these big chunky guns, a big fat tail as well. Yeah, so that's Triceraton, and that's the last of my figures. I think I've probably got all the ones I want now, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching. I can't explain how much these figures bring back memories from my childhood, and just owning them, it just makes me feel really nostalgic. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.